Hello, 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 lovely lionesses. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another Monday chat. And in the hot seat this week, we have Enrgy Speaks, who is a speaker, certified life and relationship coach, and author. Today's chat is going to be called and about Make Time Your Friend. So, welcome to the chat, Enrgy.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, Julie.
It's such a pleasure to have you. Thank you very much for doing this. Please, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. So I go by Coach Nrgy. Enrgy is my actual name, but most people know me as Coach Nrgy. I
Okay.
am the self-mastery coach. So I work with high achievers who want to achieve self-mastery.
Wow.
And I go through that process with them because when you learn that when you master your mind, when you master your emotions, and when you master your assignment, you can live your purpose and live on purpose. So we
Ooh.
focus on everything mindset, emotional well being, and purpose discovery. I've been a certified, well, I'm in the certified life and relationship coach field, as well as a court registered mediator field. So I do coaching and mediations, and I've been in both industries for over 2 decades now.
Wow.
And I'm based in the US, in the state of Georgia. And yeah, so I help people just make sense of life and to ultimately help them take control of their life back.
Which is great. I think so many of us are now doing this in different ways. There's so many ways you can take control, right? And
Yes.
you are making a huge difference to the world. And what you're doing is um, such a great humanitarian project, basically. Yeah. So
Yes.
I am I'm very happy that we our paths crossed and we're doing similar things to help humanity evolve and become better human beings, which is great. Okay, so let's dive into the chat, shall we? Make time your friend. I know that in the audience out there, there's a lot of people who are not great at like time management and they maybe procrastinate that kind of stuff and time just controls them rather than the other way around, right? Yeah, it happens to me. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I'll let you kick off the chat. Where should we start?
Yeah. So when a person understands that they can actually be in control of their time, that's when they can start to make the connection that controlling your time is
Mm,
also controlling your life.
mm,
And
yeah.
controlling your time is also what helps with not being in without feeling that life is just happening all around you
Mm,
and you're having to just hold on or catch up or just letting it do whatever it chooses to do to you.
mm,
And that's a clear indicator that you're not controlling your time, meaning you're not managing your day. You're not letting each minute or each hour of the day, you're not saying this is what we will be doing today because this is what I'm being intentional about. This is how I'm planning my day, or this is how I'm going to organize the things that I need to take care of
mm,
today.
yeah.
And I also want to preface this conversation by also saying it's not about being very militant or rigid with every single second or every single minute. No, because then that's going to create and cause more problems as well. But it's about just being in control of those hours that you have, even if those moments or those hours you're doing nothing. But that's because it's fine if or when you plan to do nothing. It's fine for if or when you say, after 6 p.m. today, I'm turning off all of my devices and I'm just having some me time. I just want to sit down and relax, sit in front of the window or the TV or listen to some music, whatever it is, or take a nap, whatever it is. It's
Mm,
okay as long as it's being done intentionally.
yes. Yeah, that is really powerful stuff you just shared, and especially the word intentionally, that we have to, because we have such busy lives now, we have to schedule it in to our calendar to have time for ourselves, to be quiet or to relax, yeah, or to do something that we enjoy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, life has become just so busy and so full of distractions that if it isn't scheduled in, you'll just forget, especially the me time, which always doesn't get prioritized high enough on the list, does it? So
That's
that,
right.
yeah, that usually gets put on the back burner, and until you get to the point where you could be in burnout or overwhelm. Yeah.
Yes.
Hmm. Yeah, so
Yes.
important. So, are there any tools that work with you to help you manage your time?
Yes. So depending on if, because we have differences, and some people prefer to use electronic devices to
Mm,
keep up with things such as your online calendar,
yes.
your email task section, or certain apps that can help you stay organized, that can help you create systems, and those alarms and things like that that can help, that notification, put that notification out there to remind you. And then you have others who are more into the tactile type of stuff, such as planners and notebooks and things that they have to
Mm,
physically write down in on paper or
yeah.
in their journal or their notebook or planner again. And so, no matter which method you prefer, just using something, and like you said, tools. And so ultimately it's all about calendars or writing something down, figuring out what is it that you need to accomplish on this particular day. And for me, and what I've noticed that helps is if you plan your tomorrow the
Mm.
day before.
Ah,
So, what that looks like is, for me, I'll schedule every night before I go to bed. I have about 15 to 30 minutes of where I'm doing my planning for tomorrow.
mm,
And therefore, I'm able to see, okay, what do I really need to take care of tomorrow? Or what do I already have that's scheduled and at what time? And then I start to work everything else around that. But I have pretty much of a standard type of structure where the first part of my day, I don't do anything work related. I don't answer phone calls. I don't read or respond to emails, not in that first part of my day. So I automatically know that, that first hour or hour and a half, whatever it is that I typically do, I know that there's nothing going on during that time except for self. I'm
mm,
focusing on self.
yes.
And like you were saying before, we tend to put self on the back burner, or we tend to try to fit it in where we can instead of prioritizing
Yes.
ourselves. And
Yes.
so for me, that's just one of the things that I do with the tools that I have. I will automatically make sure I have time for self first. And
Mm,
then I do my scheduling, or I confirm those emails or other appointments that I received in emails. I confirm those around what I know I typically prefer to use as my self time.
mm,
I am one of those people who like to physically write in a planner and a notebook. So I have my planner out and I'm able to see, okay, at 2 p.m., I have a podcast interview. At 4 p.m., I, may need to go to the grocery store and get groceries to prepare for dinner at 6. So I'm able to see everything that's coming up the day before for my tomorrow. So therefore, when I wake up the following morning, I'm not at that moment trying to figure out, okay, what do I have to do today?
Yeah.
I'm going to bed already knowing it. And when I'm asleep, my mind and my body, they are coming into agreement with what I have to do for tomorrow.
That's really good. Yes. Yeah. Because when you're asleep, I've noticed this, I've studied this, your brain is processing not just what information it's received during the day, it's it's trying to work out how it can come up with a solution for tomorrow. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
The
And
mind.
it helps with making sure that your day is being as productive as it can be,
Mm,
because your subconscious is already, like you said, from the moment that you when you go to bed, you're giving your subconscious an opportunity to see and start to work on the day on your behalf. So
mm.
therefore, when you wake up, it's like, okay, okay, yeah, this isn't too bad, or I can take care of that, or, I can handle this. And you're in control. You are more in control because it's like you've pre-worked it.
Yeah, but you've told it what to expect, kind of thing. Yeah, from the
Yes,
from a higher level, it's got a good idea of what to expect. There shouldn't be any nasty surprises, hopefully, so it can plan well ahead how you're going to do things because it knows how you typically behave and how you think. Right?
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, really
And
helps.
yeah, and to add to what you were just saying, for, those surprises that may happen, because that can happen.
Of
There
course.
there are certain things that you are just not in control of. And
Mm,
so we have to make room for that to happen.
yeah.
And so when you're creating your schedule, remember I said before, don't be too rigid with your scheduling, meaning don't try to have something going on at the top of the hour every single hour. Give
Mm,
some buffer space. Give yourself some flexibility between your appointments or between your tasks. So therefore, if or when something comes up, if or when that phone call or that situation happens, it's not going to throw your entire day off track.
mm, yeah, because that can happen, and it can also, if you're like me and I'm a highly sensitive person, so when I get thrown off track, I can be really like discombobulated, and I'm like, what am I doing next? What should I be doing next? And if it's not written down, then I could be wasting a lot of time, and then maybe doing some task that is not if not productive, not doesn't serve me, or could be just I shouldn't be doing it at that time. I should be doing it later. Yeah.
Yes. And that's another big piece of making time your friend and being successful and effective at time management is staying calm
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and breathing, and just because when you're calm, you think more clear. You think
Yeah.
clearly.
Definitely. Yeah. Okay, yeah, absolutely, definitely. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Okay. There are some amazing tricks out there, I have to say. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Pomodoro method. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
go ahead. I'm sorry. Yes.
No, it's okay. I'd heard of this method like 10 years ago at least. I'd heard this method and I thought, um alarms going off for me would scare me to death. I get startled easily, so it'd be like, oh, I can't have alarms going off. And yet today, I have at least 10 alarms going off during the day on my phone, and they're different alarms for waking up, affirmations. I've got to do this thing, otherwise I'm going to lose out if I don't do it by the end of the day. And I've got 3 alarms to remind me to do this one thing. Because I know if I don't have 3 alarms, I'll ignore the first, and the second, and then I'll be like, oh yes, I need to do it before the time's running out. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
need those 3 alarms just for one task. Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's me. You know, it's like some people get up in the morning and they have three alarms and they snooze one and then the other one comes on and then they finally get up on the third. Yeah.
Yes. I've
Yeah.
been guilty of that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh my gosh, yes. If I may,
yes.
so to kind of tie in the Pomodoro technique and also talking about the multiple alarms.
Yes.
So because I've been there before as well, just like you were saying, having to set an alarm and then you set a backup alarm for that alarm and then a backup alarm for the backup.
Yes.
And I noticed when I needed to do that, it's because I did not intentionally follow a plan and I
Mm,
wasn't being organized. And before creating a plan, following it, and being organized, it created having all of those different alarms and having to say, oh, yeah, I forgot. It created a more stressful
mm,
lifestyle. It created a more stressful day to day.
mm,
And so for those who are, those who are listening and for those who are finding themselves also setting multiple alarms to just make sure, take the time and just create the plan, put timers, if something needs to be done by 1 p.m., put 1 p.m. down and put the task or the action that needs to be completed by then, and so forth and so on, and start getting in the habit of checking your planner or checking your to-do list or checking your online calendar. And
mm,
once you get in the habit of looking at that throughout the day, that's the one thing you have to remind yourself to do
mm.
versus trying to remind yourself of doing all of these other tasks. You have to now just focus on the one thing, which is, let me check my planner. Let me check today's list of things to do. Let me check today's calendar.
Yeah.
if you can if you narrow down all of the things you have to try to remember,
Mm,
that's going to take care of a lot of the issues that we find ourselves in going from day to day.
yes.
Now, the the Pomodoro technique, I use that, and that's to help with making sure that I'm not putting too much time into one thing or going from one task straight to the next task without giving my mind and my body some sort of a break to be
Mm,
able to just, change my position, um, give my eyes a break from if I'm looking at screens,
yes.
giving my eyes or my body a break, or
Yeah.
just going to get a sip of water or just eating a light snack, whatever it is. So that technique of setting those little reminders or alarms
Mm,
is to help make sure that you are getting your breaks and that you are staying in you're concentrating on that one task in that moment. So
yes.
for an example, that technique is saying, okay, you can, set a little reminder or timer. The better term is timer.
Yeah.
Setting a timer for 25 minutes.
Mhm.
Okay, if you set a timer for 25 minutes, your mind automatically starts saying, okay, we need to focus on this one task for the next 25 minutes so we can complete it or get as much completed as possible. That
Yes.
will also help prevent you from um, kind of having that squirrel, mentality, or from being distracted, because
Yeah.
your mind is in agreement with you of saying, hey, we have 25 minutes, we need to get this done. And
Mhm.
then when that timer goes off, that's when you take a break from it, you step away, you stand up, you do a quick 5-minute walk, whatever it is, then you come back to whatever is next on your list, even if it's the same project.
Mm,
If you haven't completed it in that initial 25-minute break timeline, you can come back to it, but you have to give yourself an opportunity to stay fresh throughout the day.
yeah.
And what can help with those who don't like the alarms that are going off throughout the day every half hour or every hour or whatever. Use a timer type of technique or method. So for me, my watch, a lot of us have smart watches nowadays. There's most have a timer built in to where it doesn't make a sound, it just taps on your wrist.
Ah, you
And
feel
so
it.
that's much more.
Vibration. Yeah.
Yes, it's
Mhm.
gentle, it's more subtle.
Yes.
Also, for me, if it's a day where I'm not wearing my watch, and if I'm on my computer, then I will go to maybe YouTube or I'll Google maybe say like a 30-minute timer. You can put that in Google or you can put that in YouTube. And
Ah,
there are so many timers that people have created that
ah,
have like calming nature sounds or
ah, yeah.
music or
Right.
instrumental sounds. And it's a different way than
Mm,
having to always rely on such a blaring alarm.
yes. That's a great gold nugget you just shared. I didn't know that. I did. I know there's a plethora of information on YouTube, but YouTube is not a place I would go and look for a timer. There's a timer on my phone, and when it goes off, it goes beep, 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 beep. Yeah. It also
Yeah.
vibrates because the phone vibrates. Um, but I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, because you're listening to calming music, and I have a separate app for that. But to have it together, the timer and the music, that's a great idea. Thank you for sharing that with us. That's great. Really, really great. Okay. Yeah, the thing is as well, with a person who gets distracted as much as I do, even the smallest thing like a fly buzzing around my window distracts me. It really does. But if I literally tell myself, you've set the timer, you have to stay focused on this task, um, or you are going to have to keep continuing to reset the timer, keep going, but if you focus, you'll get it done quicker without any distractions. Because when I get distracted, I can go off down a different path entirely, and it might take me hours to get back to what I was originally doing. Yeah. And I'm doing
Yes.
all this other stuff that may or may not be needed, but it's not stuff I need to do now. I could do it later. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And with that, that's where setting those timers, even if you do one that's 45 minutes or an hour, even if you do a longer timer
Mm.
for this reason that we're talking about right
Yeah.
now, that can be very helpful for if you do go down a rabbit hole or if you find yourself being distracted. When
Yes.
that timer goes off, it's that moment of stopping you,
Yeah.
and now you can say, okay, wait, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing or did I get off track? And you can do a quick reflection in that moment
Yeah.
and analyze what's going on and then see, oh, let me get back to what I should have been doing because I
Mm.
did get
Yeah.
distracted. So setting
Yes.
with
Yes.
with timing and managing your time and being productive and efficient, it's a process to get there. And you have to
Yeah.
start somewhere, and you have to start with being strategic with
Yeah.
who with your style of how you have been doing things. So that's why, for no matter what the situation is, no matter what someone's current habits are, once I hear them, once they explain it to me, just like what you may have done, there's a strategy that
Mm.
we can create to help you alleviate or lower the amount of time that you're distracted, to
Yes.
then eventually get you back on track to where that distraction, it's no longer there, but it's a process and it will take time. So I say that for those who are listening and for you, but for those who are listening, to just give yourself grace and just be willing to work through the process.
Mm, definitely, definitely. Because when you get distracted, um, somebody once told me there's something called time blindness. And if you don't set a timer or an alarm, and when my alarms go off, I'm like, oh, is it really that time already? Oh, I should be doing this, or I should be doing that, you know? but I'm like a deer in headlights. I'm like, startled. But if I'm setting these timers and then I know that, okay, I've just gone and wasted 45 minutes doing something I shouldn't be doing, let's stay focused. And then you kind of, okay, you berate yourself a little bit, but you really make more of an effort to stay focused. Yeah.
Yeah.
And not get distracted. But it is
Right.
tricky trying to change your habit. I'm actually shifting from a spontaneous kind of work pattern and trying to match the best times of the day when I'm alert and I'm very highly productive and I'm quite an efficient worker when I'm awake, okay, because I'm not an early morning person. So the early morning time is when I can just be doing my non-sequential, insignificant stuff like the self-care, right?
Yes.
Which isn't taxing on the brain, but the taxing stuff I can leave till later when I'm fully awake, and then I'm really energized and mentally strong to do it. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Two things. The first, I'm going to go back a little bit where you were talking about when, let's just say, if you do have your alarm set, when it goes off, it's like, oh my gosh, it's that time already. Something that can help with that also, if you are using these alarms, is instead of setting the reminder for the alarm to go off on the time when you need to start or finish something, set that alarm maybe 15 minutes before or 30 minutes before whatever it is that you need to complete or need to start. So therefore you're still building in some flexibility. You're still building in some time for you to not be like, oh my gosh, I have to stop what I'm doing right now and get started on this right now. You don't want to be in a right now type of lifestyle or state of mind or way that you're, going throughout your day. So instead of, if you have something to do at 2 o'clock, instead of setting an alarm at 2, set an alarm at 1:30. And in the note of that alarm or the description, say, start preparing for whatever at 2 o'clock.
Mm.
Or and so therefore you now have 30 minutes to say,
Ex-
oh, let me stop what I'm doing, let me transition and prepare for my 2 o'clock. So
Yeah.
that's the one thing I wanted to say. And going back to what you said about setting those harder tasks during the hours of where you're more alert.
Mm.
Absolutely. That's another thing that I always share with people is you have to find out what part of the day is your prime hours or your prime time.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, just like you said, not everyone is a morning person.
Mm.
Sure, there are some people who are great at waking up at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m., but that doesn't work for everyone
No.
because we're all created differently and
Mm-hmm.
our internal clocks run differently.
Yeah.
And so I'm not a morning person either. That's why the same thing, like you were saying, my first part of my day that's my self-care time. So I prioritize that because I need time to build up to where my prime time hours start. And what you're going to do to help find or figure out when your hours are is just start taking note. Just pay attention to yourself and take note of when you see that you're on it, when
Yeah.
you are in your zone and like the momentum has started and you are at your, you're operating at your max capacity in a
Yeah.
good way.
Yeah.
And then start to notice when you slow down, start to notice when you kind of are like, you start getting more distracted. You kind of look around at things a little bit more. You kind of start getting bored with whatever you're working on. So then you start to figure out, okay, at the beginning, at this time, and then a few hours up until this time, that's when I'm at my best.
Mm-hmm.
And during those hours, that's when you want to be intentional and plan and schedule those meetings or those tasks that are going to require effort and attention and a lot of brain power.
Yeah, that is fantastic. Yes, yes, I fully agree with everything you just said there. That's amazing. The people listening to this, watching this, need to make notes of everything you've just said. It's really, really powerful stuff, and it's going to make you so much more productive and efficient. Thank you, Enrgy, so much for sharing some amazing gold nuggets with us and your expertise. We really appreciate it, and so thank you very much on behalf of the Pride. Just before we wrap up, could I please ask you 2 questions?
Please do.
So what is it about you that makes you a fearless, strong, and confident lioness?
I would say my ability to be understanding to different situations, different personalities, different lifestyles, and just different people, period. And that ability to be able to understand easily whatever is in front of me, it helps me to conquer that day, or to be my best in that situation, or to be able to really assist that person that I'm interacting with in that moment.
Okay. No, that's really good. Really powerful stuff. Okay, and finally, can you please share with us one gold nugget that has really helped you become the lioness you aspired to be?
Yes, and the topic that we chose is why we chose it, because I'm very passionate about it. If you couldn't tell, I'm really passionate about time, because the golden nugget that I'll leave you with is every minute of time that passes is 1 minute of your life that passes. So I'm going to say it one more time. Every minute of time that passes equals 1 minute of your life that passes. And when you make that connection, that's when you're able to say, let me be intentional about my day-to-day time. So therefore, I'm being intentional about my day-to-day life.
Yeah, wow. And time, you don't get back time. So your
No.
is really powerful. It's the one thing you can't get back. Yeah, it just keeps going forward. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. It has been an absolute pleasure having you here on this Monday chat. I will share your links when I post this video. So thank you so much for that. I and the Lionesses really appreciate you for doing this.
Awesome. It was such a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. Okay, everybody. Thank you very much for watching another wonderful Monday chat. I shall see you next week. Ciao for now. Bye.